All right, time for the MCC Grand Finals. We're going to do Moto 2 here in a moment for Johnstown Arena Cross. Ooh, HCS vibes. Anyone remember? That's a throwback. So, Moto 2. Starting order on the gate. Well, I suppose it doesn't really matter too much, but Opix, Bean, Detail, and Luke. And then in the next row, Roman, Rebel, Slaunch, and Real Deal. So we're gonna get this going. Battery. I don't know, the copyright might be kind of cheese. And we're off. Slaunch already losing full, I could hear that, even with it turned down, but make our way through the finish. Close battle. Oh, and was that Real Deal? I think that was Real Deal. He like lost it over the berm. So he could have had a really good start leading on to the sweep, but he's going to have to recover from that. And it's actually Bean. And you can hear him laughing. He goes down. He had the I got to rewind that one and go to a listen because that's hilarious.
From the back.
Bean throws it away.
That's hilarious.
After a great start here to Moto 2, so unfortunate he's going to have to regain from that. So now we're going to go to the lead, and I think Roman's actually in second. So, and it seems like Slaunch has had a rough start. It seems like all the, top performers from the last Moto off to a rough start. And a lot of the drivers that were more midfield or back of the pack are more up towards the front this time. So this start definitely shaking things up a little bit. But remember, a long ways to go. Whoa, and a little wheelie there. Ooh, whoops, that's going to be a little spooky. But yeah, a long ways to go.
You're fucking.
It is a 71 checkpoint, 35 lap race. So still a lot of racing action left.
Did somebody pull a couple of bolts out of my goose in between motos?
Oh, little contact there. This might open up the door for Roman, but not quite.
I might have got my case. It does.
I feel like the bottom bolts of my suspension is disconnected.
Oh my god. Oh, you fuck Roman.
There we go.
And now it's so Real Deal's recovered after that incident in the berm. He's already up to second.
Yeah. Oh, I'm coming back for you.
I believe so.
Sorry.
Oh
I'm
god,
going for the sweep.
that was awesome. See how all my Moto 2s are going to be going.
With the whoops, almost a wheelie there again. But it looks like the top three.
I hate mine.
I'm not sure. It might even be Detail in third and Roman in fourth. It's hard to tell at this point, but it's definitely Real Deal in second. And it looks like there's quite a few drivers that are still in the fight there in the middle of the pack. I think we'll see better battles for position there this time around. I'm trying to figure out where Rebel is. Could be Rebel. I think Rebel's in the middle of that mid-pack battle, actually. It might be like Detail, Rebel, Roman, or something like that.
Okay. Good enough.
Ooh, rough run into the whoops that time, and Middle's definitely going to gain some time there.
Apparently I can't drive.
And we've already ran through 10 laps, so getting close to a third of the way through this race. Like I said, 35 laps seems like a lot, but it actually rolls by pretty quick on this one.
What is happening?
Lap times very fast when you're not messing up,
Even though I took it
which I think a lot of these drivers are, but that's how it goes. And it looks like lap traffic might actually come into play here soon. Oh, Real Deal went for it. Go back. We're going to need to listen in on that one.
I didn't realize it would flip me.
So Real Deal went for an ambitious move there. Bit of an ambitious move. Didn't work out, so cost him some time there, and he's going to have to try to regain from that one. But he might have some help with that as we have lap traffic coming up here shortly. That could have got kind of dangerous in the middle there, but doesn't. I believe that's Opix going off to the side. Blue flagging.
So I'm not in this blue flag. Jeez.
And yeah, so he's going to go a lap down, but I believe that's actually Slaunch up there, so and we know he's got pace, so you'd have to probably make a couple more mistakes for him to get into blue flag range, but it's definitely something that could happen here if he does have one slip up. So we're getting pretty close to the halfway point of this race, actually.
By the way, high key, fuck that track. I don't care if it's fucking 5, it's...
Oh, and we go out of the rut and regain, but Real Deal was not expecting it. He goes off the track and gets stuck for a bit. That is unfortunate. He does get it. He does get the goose loose, but he's going to lose quite a bit of time off that, so... Let's go back to another listen at the reaction. Let's do another listen in on Real Deal's reaction here.
Oh.
Oh no. I'm stuck. I got it. I got out. Yeah, I know you didn't mean it.
So he's gonna have to regain from that. Unfortunate, you know, a few of these incidents cleaned up, and Real Deal could be in a really good spot in this moto, but having more issues than he saw in Moto 1.
Yeah, that rut conked me about 5 laps in a row. It's weird. I was pulling it like every lap in Moto 1, and then all of a sudden I couldn't hit it anymore.
Who's behind me?
Interesting takes from the field. No, it is definitely something. The rut is a hard. This inside is obviously fast, but it's hard. Like right there, I think I hit it pretty decent. It's hard to set up for. Coming out of the whoops, but if you do it properly, you can get some pretty crazy fast runs through that inside rut and definitely gain quite a bit of time there. So, it's like I said in the last moto, I think that was a pretty decent run there too. Like I said in the last moto, this whole like those few sections right there, those couple sections, that's where all I would argue like a good chunk of the time is made up on this track. It's all about stringing those sections together cleanly. You got to get this good entry into the whoops. You got to carry that momentum, and then right again, I had a pretty good run. I had a pretty good string of laps right there where I was hitting it pretty well. See, I was getting in a groove, but you get a good entry into the whoops. You carry that momentum. You run it into the rut, and you try to like not even have to let off in the rut. You try to just like slam it through it. And it looks like here I'm gonna do it all right again. And if you can get into that groove and you can get that settled, then you're going to be running pretty fast times on this track, and you're going to be gaining time. It's a hard groove to find, but if you can find it, there's actually a ton of time that could be made there. Making the passes is a little bit more difficult, but definitely will help in making up time. And you know, for like a 5-6 lap sequence right there, I think I got into a pretty good groove with that, and showcasing like how much time you can make up getting into that flow. Right here again, another whoop run, decent whoop run. The rut was all right, and yeah, it just shows like that's where a lot of the time is decided and made up on this track, I think.
Yes. Root shot.
You can make up some time in the other sections, but there's only so much you can do with the corner entry. Definitely think these two is where most of it is going to happen. That's where most of your lap time is determined. That being said, you can definitely set up for that finish section. You can definitely set up for that better. You know, get better landings there, get better entry into the corner. Like, there's definitely time to be made up elsewhere, but the whoops are low key one of the most important parts. And then the section after it, specifically the rollover or the single exiting, I think that's also another spot. Like, if you set up for that properly, you can actually gain a lot of time there. You can make passes there. So yeah, like right here, I think this is another part of the track that's pretty important. And here we're going for putting Bean a lap down. We're trying to put Bean a lap down. You can see we get that crazy run on the inside. Gonna go through the whoops here. And yeah, so Bean's lap down now, and we're getting, I believe it's 7 to go right here at the line, and still a pretty decent gap, but with a couple of mistakes, with a couple of rough runs, I think Real Deal could still work down this gap, and things could still get interesting. But I've had a pretty decent last few laps where I've been hitting the whoops pretty clean and, you know, getting that run into the inside rut, so it's going to be tough for him to be able to make up that time and make the move with the current gap, but you never know. Something could go wrong here. There's still a bit of time remaining. Right there, that run was obviously not as good. But again, not a whole lot of time left. We're down to 5 laps to go here at Johnstown Arena Cross. Technically the first, we ran a super, oh, that's it right there. That was a bad entry into the whoops. That's going to cost a lot of time. And something like that could really open up the door for Real Deal. But it's still a decent gap. But yeah, we raced a couple supercrosses. I think we raced a motocross. So first Arena Cross. We sent it here in the grand finals. Oh, and that's, again, another mistake, not really getting through the rut as cleanly as Luke was hoping for. And these mistakes later definitely going to help Real Deal close that gap. I think the gap was actually staying fairly steady. But with those, Real Deal's going to close it a bit, but there's also not a whole lot of time remaining, so
Would you rather have Jared or
Luke's starting to lose the groove here at the end. And it's working out for Real Deal. He's putting in some fast times as well.
same?
But there's only 2 laps to go. So Real Deal's got to still make up this gap, another goose length or so, and he's got to make the pass. So still a pretty tall order. That was a pretty good run that time around. I don't think Real Deal could have gained too much time right there. Still gains a bit on the single on the exit. I think that's where he makes up a decent chunk of his time. He's got that figured out pretty well.
69.
But last lap, and he's close, and he kind of tries to dive it in right there. But just not really going to be able to go anywhere to make this pass. And he definitely tried to do it, but yeah, he just didn't have enough time. Like, once he got up to the position, he didn't have enough time to set up the pass. He needed to get there. He needed to get into second, like right behind the lead, just like a lap or 2 earlier, and have time to set up the pass, but he kind of just had to like go for it at the end. But anyways, that is the second moto at Johnstown. So results gonna be so it's gonna be Luke, Real Deal, Detail, Podium, Rebel, Roman, Slaunch, Bean, Opix
Roman kept reeling.
rounding out the field.
Slowly reeling Detail.
So there you go. You can take a look at the overall results. Obviously, this one's going to be a big gain for Real Deal, and he's definitely going to keep it close. Rebel with another solid podium finish, though. Oh, I just realized. There we go. But yeah, and even then, like, these still very close points-wise. Like, the points are going to be looking crazy close, I think. And I think it could definitely be, like, anybody's game going into the final race here. And in fact, let's take a look at it. And here's a look at our points after the first 2 rounds of this grand finals. Going to be going into the last round. I'm really excited for this one. Whitewater Rapids, finally. It's about time. But yeah, let's take a look at these points. So it's going to be Luke and Real Deal, 1 point separating them going into the last race. Crazy close, anyone's game there. But at the same time, you got to watch out for Rebel in third, not too far behind. If he has a really good string of races, could still make it happen. For these drivers, it's going to be a lot tougher, but I would still say that anybody in the top 6, in my opinion, is still in it. Crazy things happen in grand finals. Bean and Opix is going to be tough for them. I think they're pretty much out, but anybody in the top 6 still has a realistic shot. As far as I'm concerned, obviously Luke and Real Deal are going to be favored. They have a pretty decent advantage, but you never know in these World of Outlaw races. Last lap crashes on white flags, something like that could go wrong. It could shake everything up. So it's anybody's game. It's anybody's game between this top 6 going into Whitewater Rapids, finally ending out a grand final in there. It's going to be awesome, and we'll see you there.